Right, here we are, next video in this CAD process for our desk lamp. So what we're going to look at today is designing like the desk, the lampshade, the part that the LED strip lights are going to fix onto and hopefully help just focus the light in the area of the desk that we want it to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new part studio, because this is a new part for the design. So let's get a new part studio created, and I'm going to move that to this side of the assembly just to tidy things up. Let's rename it. Let's call it I'm going to call it the light shade. Lovely. I'm just going to look at our assembly. So if I'm going to sketch this in the front plane. So I've just gone back to my assembly to just have a look at the view, and I think this would be best off sketched using our front plane. So I'm going to go back to my part studio. I'm going to hide the top plane, the right plane, and I'm just going to be working on the front plane. So I'm going to start by sketching a center point rectangle on the front plane. So I've chosen sketch, I've clicked on front, onto my drop down, I want the center point rectangle, snap it to the origin, up and out. Again, don't fall into the trap of trying to click on these little white boxes to put dimensions in. You can just hover your mouse towards them and it will toggle between the two of them. Once it's turned white, it's ready for you to add a dimension. So we're going to make it 100 millimeters long. And again, don't try clicking there because it will want you to click. It'll think you're making another center point rectangle. You're not. Just move your mouse towards that, those numbers, those dimensions, and it will go white and it's ready for us to type in. So, and we'll make it 50 tall. I'm going to click on my dimensions tool at the top. I'm just going to remove those or move them off the sketch, tidy it up, make it really easy for you to really understand what's going on. And I'm going to green tick that. Next thing we're going to do is, I can't remember if we've used this before. We might have done it in year 9, but I can't remember. Anyway, we're going to use what we call the sheet metal model. So what this is going to do, it's going to take our sketch, we haven't extruded it yet, and we're going to tell the computer that we're going to be working with a piece of sheet material. The material I'm going to make my lampshade out of is going to be acrylic. So it would be a piece of sheet material. As we know, acrylic comes in sheets. So I'm going to click on my sheet metal mode, and I am literally going to click. Sorry, no. You have to click on the sketch first, then go to sheet metal mode. And I haven't done anything. And if I just orientate my mouse slightly, you can see it's already given it a thickness. It's turning it into a piece of sheet material. Here you can specify how thick you want that sheet to be. The acrylic that we use is 3 millimeters thick, so I don't need to change any of these dimensions. So I'm going to green tick that. I want my acrylic to be green, so I'm going to take my mouse down to the part 1, right click, edit the appearance, and I'm going to choose green and green tick that. Now the reason we've chosen sheet material and not extruded it is because with sheet material, like we can do with acrylic, when we heat it up we can bend it. Or if, for example, this was a piece of 3 or 2 mil aluminium sheet, again we could bend it. So I want to get that into my design. So if I go back to my sheet metal mode drop down, I've got this flange option. Funny name, funny word. And what I can do, and I'm going to zoom in on this corner here. It's gone orange, and I'm going to click. And if I zoom out and change the angle, you can see what it's done is it's put a bend on the edge and added a little bit more material to it. Here you can change the bend angle. I want to keep mine at 90. But just to show you, because you might want to use this feature in other products that you design, if I changed it to 40 for example, it changes that bend angle. Let's move it back to 90, and up here I can tell it how much distance or extra material do I want it to add on after that bend. So here again, let's put it up quite drastically. Let's put it to 60, and you can see what happens. I'm quite happy with 25, so I'm just going to leave it on 25. That's that side done. I'm holding down my right mouse button and I'm just reorientating my view so I can catch this inside edge and add my second flange. I don't need to change it from 25mm, and I don't need to change the angle. That's me done. Green tick. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm quite happy with how that looks, and that's that sheet material. It's called sheet metal model. Think of what material we're using. We're using acrylic sheets, and we can bend acrylic. We can bend 2 1mm aluminium thick material quite easily. Okay, that's that bit done. The next bit I'm going to do is create the little LED strip lights. They're very, very easy. Some of you might have these at home in your bedroom or at home, or come across them in things like gymnasiums or whatever. We're going to design our strip lights so we can add that to our assembled model. So I'm going to go into a new part studio. Here it is down the bottom. Right click my mouse, choose rename, LED strip lights. I am going to use the top plane for this, so I'm going to hide the front, hide the right plane, just keep it nice and tidy for me and easier for me to work. So we're going to start with a center point rectangle. Hopefully by now some of you are realizing there's more than one way to get to what you want to do. So you can just right click on this plane and do new sketch. You don't have to go up here and click new, and you can use the shortcut keys on your keyboard. So I want to choose center point rectangle, snap it to the origin, create a rectangle shape. That box is nice and white for me, ready for a dimension. That's going to be 80mm. Press enter, and that second one is going to be 10mm, and press enter. Quite happy with that. I'm going to green tick that. Let's change our sketch into a 3D object. So I'm going to right click on my sketch and I'm going to choose extrude. LED strip lighting is it's like a 1mm thick. It's not very thick at all. Happy with that. Green tick. I'm going to come down to my parts here, right click, edit the appearance. I'm going to make it as white as I possibly can. That'll do for what I want. Now we need to sketch the little LEDs. These are the bits that actually light up and give the light. What we've created there is the strip, is the plastic strip that holds the electrical components, that allows electricity to pass through, reach the LEDs. So let's reorientate my view so I'm looking straight down on top. That's what I find quite easy. And we are going to sketch a center point rectangle on the face here. So sketch, choose the face of this rectangle, go up, choose your center point rectangle. Now I'm going to zoom in so you can see exactly what I'm doing. I want it to be centered. Up I go, and I'm going to make these 3mm by 3mm, 3 by 3. I'm not going to green tick there. I'm going to use our pattern tool, a linear pattern tool. We did this before when we created our USB cable. So I'm going to click linear pattern. I'm going to click on the top right side of that square, the bottom side of it, and you can start to see it's creating that pattern. I don't want these LEDs to be as spaced out as that. Let's bring it down a little bit. Be careful you don't, I want them nice and straight. That's about right. So you can do it manually, or to be really accurate you could type in, for example, let's try 17. We might need to change this number in a minute. And I don't want 3, I don't want it to repeat 3 times. Let's do 5. There we go. Let's move it in slightly from the edge so it looks a bit neater. There we go. So I've actually set that to 16.5 is the distance between each square, and I've repeated that square pattern on 5 occasions. I'm quite happy with that. Green tick. Next then, let's create some colour to these. We need to make them into 3D objects, so go up and hit extrude, click on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares. If I change my view, you'll see it is defaulted to 25mm. That won't look right, as you can see here. Let's knock that down to 1mm, and I'm going to green tick that. I don't know what's happened to that. I obviously didn't quite catch this square here. Not a problem. Double click on extrude and just click on that one there. Green tick. Right. I want to click on that one, that one, that one. Actually, there's a better way of doing this. So what I want to do now is I want these all to look like they are yellow, or there's light coming out of them. So I'm going to right click on the whole extrude that I've just created, right click, and I'm going to add appearance to the feature, and there we go. You can change the colour. You can have a different colour LED. It doesn't have to be white, it could be blue, it could be orange, anything you want. I'm going to stick with that. So there's my LED strip light and my light shade. I'm going to pause the video there and I will show you how we're going to assemble those two features onto our design.